All right, race fans, welcome. We're live tonight to Richmond International Speedway with the Transervice Sprint Cup. Okay, let me get this right. Transervice Cup Series here from the SIM500. A little tongue-tied right there for the moment. But, hey, race 2 of the chase tonight. It's going to be an awesome one here. Short track racing with Joe White up here in the booth, accompanied by Gael. Gael, how you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you doing this evening?
Doing pretty good, and I tell you, it's going to be an interesting one here tonight as we're getting set to grid these guys up here. Race 2 of the chase. Saw an interesting race last week, and tonight, short track racing should definitely be a good one, but let's grid this awesome field up here because the man on pole, Trey Edson, he puts it out front. Daniel Falkenham's going to start there in second. Tommy Ryan sitting up in the third. Adam Gillian sitting in fourth. Fifth place man, Anthony Nabarro. We got Chad Cole sitting in sixth. Justin Fuller up to seventh. EJ O'Rourke there in eighth. And ninth place man, Kevin Brown. And Jose Gonzalez rounds the top 10. As we look to the rest of this field, well, I've said it week in and week out. It is a top-notch field here. A lot of competition and a lot of guys here. And, well, we've got 16 still buying to try to get into the next round of the chase here to see if they can't go for that title at the end of Homestead.
Yep, nobody's locked in yet. Again, it's not a win and you get in here at SIM500, but like you said, so you got 16 guys still fighting for the top 12 to get to the next round. So you've got tonight at Richmond. Next week we'll be at Charlotte for the Roval. So be sure to tune in for that one. That's going to be an interesting one for sure. And yeah, so say last week at Justin Fuller with a dominating performance at Vegas. So now he's got, should he advance, he's got 3 bonus points to go on to that next segment. So he just needs to kind of have another good couple finishes here. And I mean, obviously now he can take a little bit more risks and try to get some more wins.
Oh, absolutely. And it's going to be an interesting one here. As like you said, we're going to the Roval next week. But these guys have got to get past this one here tonight, which is a short track race of Richmond. And Richmond can bring about it sometimes. This track, even though with the package they have, this is a short track. You got to understand that they're not using the 2019 package. They actually, it's more or less like the old package was, but on the newer style car here nonetheless. So they do have the horsepower back tonight. Not as much downforce as they're used to having in these cars. So it should be interesting to see how they handle this short track. And normally with Richmond, they can get kind of loose here.
Yeah, so I tried to hop over real quick, talk to some of the drivers before they got into qualifying, and it definitely sounded like they were saying there's a fair bit of grip, but it's just once you lose the grip, it's almost like a light switch, and so you have to be real careful on corner exit. So that's going to probably be where you see some guys losing the back end of their cars, maybe just being a little too greedy on the throttle. And it's going to be tires versus fuel on the pit strategy should it go green. It sounds like they could do it on a one-stopper if they wanted to.
I agree with you on that one. So as we set here to go green flag racing, these guys will definitely pull them around this track here a couple times, and we'll get set to go. Lights off on the pace car. So we'll watch who can actually, manhandle this track. The real NASCAR race ran this past Saturday. This one will go into the lights, so we'll go into the nighttime. That'll be kind of cool. Always like to see that transition happen. Good field here. We got a huge field of cars here tonight. About to muscle around this track as the pace car is getting set to go green.
Yeah, so it's going to be an exciting one. Saying like you mentioned already with Trey Edson on the pole, say good way to make the title sponsor of this series happy.
Absolutely. Pace car's in. Here we go. The man out front, he's about to set the hammer. Green flag flies. We're racing here at Richmond.
Really good start there for Trey, able to get clear of Daniel and able to kind of get that little bit of an arc into one. You see Daniel with a really aggressive move to try to get right back to the bottom, though, right in front of Tommy Ryan in the 99.
I tell you what, everybody's going to try to get single file the best they can, 2x2, maybe early on to get what you can get early, like I said there. But most importantly, they're going to try to get single file because it can get very slick down low. As you see, probably the top 10, 11 right now, all in a freight train.
Yeah, so I did some running with this car earlier in the week, and yeah, the beginning of the runs, you definitely want to be on the bottom because these cars are so fast on fresh tires. Just if you're up top, you're gonna lose spots. There's just no way around it. So if you can get to the bottom, that's what you're gonna want to do, and then from then on, that's where you're gonna have to start trying to just kind of take advantage as people make their little mistakes, and of course just try to keep your right rear in better shape than theirs.
We always talk about, patience, pace yourself, and I think that's what they got to do here at this track, because this place right here can't snap out and bite you at any time. But again, huge field, 32 machines made it. Actually, one machine not making it tonight, unfortunately, David Comstock. Now, I'm going to tell you, that's one of the front runners there, not making the race. He's out of it right now. Not sure if he's having some technical difficulties, and maybe we'll get back in later, but definitely going to hurt in the points. Now, we talk about points, Gael. Last week, a couple drivers made himself in a hole. One notably, Nick Cohan did not have the race to start off with that he wanted. And we talked about the points. Adam Gillian, he would have been the man all season long. He dominated the regular season, but did not at the start of the chase. He has already found himself, not leading. Right now he sits in third, but just like that, with all these drivers in the chase, as close as they are, I think it's going to be, you can't have very many mistakes to make it to Homestead.
Yeah, no, you're going to have to really kind of up your game at this point, which, I mean, you'll see a lot of these guys are going to wind up doing. But, I mean, like you said, though, on the points, from first to 13th is 40 points. I mean, it's basically a one-race difference depending on the size of the field. So, I mean, you have a bad night, you DNF, and the guy behind you who's trying to chase you down and winds up winning it, they're gonna gain a ton on you. So, yeah, it's gonna be minimizing mistakes and just really needing to step up your game for some of these guys.
Top three guys right now, nose to tail. Trey Edson out front, Daniel Falkenham sitting in second, Adam Gillian right there in tow, sitting in third. They're pulling away from the fourth place man, Tommy Ryan and Adam DeBarrio right there. Anthony DeBarrio, excuse me, I don't want to say Adam DeBarrio, but Anthony DeBarrio. Chad Cole, another one, Mr. Cool Comic Collective there. He actually had a pretty good finish last week, trying to do what he can. You already see him getting a little bit loose and going to lose that spot.
Yeah, so I think he had Justin Fuller right on his back bumper, and I think he was probably in his head, it's like, you know what, it's lap 10, you go ahead. I'm going to see if I can save my stuff. I know Chad's pretty notorious for having pretty good long run pace, so I say obviously last week Fuller was really fast with the whole race at Vegas, but we'll see how it is tonight at Richmond. And as I say that, though, you got Adam Gillian taking that spot from Daniel Falkingham for that second spot.
Adam, man, definitely is fast. He was fast last week, bumped the wall later in the race, kind of mid-style of the race there, kind of lost all momentum. Going to see if he can't capitalize here tonight, because he definitely had a bad, fast hot rod last week. So right now he's already starting to pick it up where he left off there, seeing if he can't run down Trey Edson and maybe get out front, get some bonus points, win this thing tonight and get out of there. Talked about Nick Cohan earlier. Not the race that he wanted. Started in the pits last week, had a lot of technical difficulties. Definitely had a fast machine, because once he got out on the track, he was able to hold with the leaders. The problem is he was in a hole the entire time and just never was able to make up ground. Well, he's still in a hole in the playoffs here tonight. But right now running 11th. If he can come out of here and a good finish, maybe I almost say a good top 5, a win definitely would help matters. But if he can come out here with a good top 5, it might help him going into Roval. And we talked about this guy last week at Las Vegas. Was probably one of the better tracks in the first 3 tracks. And not really wanting to be behind the 8 ball going in to the last 2 races, because tonight and next week obviously are more like wild card races. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, anytime you have a short track or a road course, those definitely can easily throw a wrench into your plans. Unlike the 1.5-mile, 2-mile tracks, those are kind of the bread and butter of the series. But in that saying, the other thing, I mean, unless I'm curious to see if David Comstock's able to get in or not, because like we mentioned, I mean, if he doesn't get in, he's going to be credited with a 32nd place finish, I believe. And that's that's probably going to put him right back down where Nick is in that 14th, 15th position, if my math is right. So just depends on how these other guys run tonight and everything. But definitely some bad runs, bad luck for other guys can easily put him back up into contention.
And that's what I'm talking about right there. Just one race in the 3-race Chase series right here to get into the next round. Definitely, if you have a bad race, unfortunately, David Comstock last week having an outstanding run. But tonight, like you said, right now sitting in 32nd position, and there's not that many points separating the top 14 to 16 drivers. And remember, only 12 of them go to the next round. And after Roval, I mean, pretty much tonight, David Comstock could almost eliminate himself out of going to the next round if, disaster like this happened. We're 3 wide right here with Scott Simley and company.
So take a look over to see where you're looking at too. So I was focusing on the lead up front, and I say Adam Gillen's able to sneak by Trey Edson. But yeah, that's the thing is with here at Richmond, there's stuff all over the place to try to keep up with.
Yeah. Yeah, I was back there looking at kind of mid-pack, so kind of looking through it. And but you're right, Adam Gillian takes that top spot out front with Trey Edson right there in second. All those guys kind of single file still, and you still got Tommy Ryan running right there in fourth. Daniel Falkenham sitting in third. If Adam can come out of here with a win, and I said it last week when he got up there and up front and he took off with the lead, I said, oh, that's just something these chase drivers do not want to see.
Yeah, so he's one you can't really let sneak away in front of you.
He's just, he dominated the regular season, the most wins and everything there. And now he's out here in the chase. He's definitely in it. He was able to bounce back, get a good top 10 finish last week, even though with the problems that he had. But he's not leading it, but tonight a win would definitely help him out here and help his cause.
Yeah, and then also moving on to that next round is getting those bonus points for it too, because 3 bonus points for the next one. That could go a long ways, because I think if I understood correctly, the bonus points they gathered through the regular season, those only applied for this first round. It doesn't carry over to the second and third rounds and so on. So so it's gonna be really important to get everything you can. That's why what Fuller did last week at Vegas was so important.
Absolutely. Right now, Chad Cole hanging on to 7th place. He's trying to run down Justin Fuller or just try to ride in the tire tracks. EJ O'Rourke right there behind him. EJ had an up and down race last week, but definitely right now sitting in 8th place spot. And I talked about Nick Cohan. He was fast last week. Just a misfortune, just like David Comstock this week. But he's right there in 9th place. If he can finish this thing out, like I said, in the top 5, he might have a good shot if he has a very good finish of getting that top 12 spot. And, going into the next round and maybe, going, I survived the first half of this thing.
You're exactly right. And it is a really good start for him tonight. He started 15th up to 9th already, all under green flag conditions here. And like you said, even if he advances in the 12th position, that's fine, because I'd say it resets on the next segment. So he could go there next segment, win out, and then easily be into the next round. So that's the thing is it's kind of like 3 races, 3 playoffs in its own little right until you get to Homestead. So there's a lot of pressure on these guys to try to make sure they get every point they can.
Absolutely. What's up out there, Tyler? How you doing? I'll tell you, right now, good run. You do see, man, Nick Cohan has moved up to the 8th place spot, so he is on his move, trying to knock them down one at a time. Kevin Brown hanging on to that top 10. Timothy Johnson sitting in the 11th place spot. Jose Gonzalez comes speedy right there. He's falling back to 12th. Sean Castro right there sitting in the 13th place spot. Chad Coleman, he's back there behind him in the 14th. We've got so many good names out here in the SIM500 Transervice Cup Series. And, definitely want to appreciate Transervice coming on board amongst all the sponsors we have here. It's awesome in here at the SIM500.
Yeah, we have a lot of good partners that are joining up with the series to sponsor the cars and sponsor the series themselves and everything. So it's always nice to see that. You're right about the drivers. These guys they're tough to beat. I was able to join them last night in the Kick-Ass Beef Jerky Xfinity Series, and man, they humbled me a lot. Just to put it that way. I couldn't believe how fast these guys were going. I was doing all I could to keep up, and I still couldn't even come close to hanging with them. So yeah, I've got my work cut out to try to hang with these guys for future races.
Awesome. I tell you what. Well, I was about to ask you, did you win? That would have been the thing. But hey, I tell you, if I got out here, don't feel bad. I'd probably be in the back there and hopefully wouldn't wreck anything.
That was kind of my goal, was to try to stay out of trouble, because they're doing their playoffs there as well. So I didn't want to cause any trouble, but at the same time, there wasn't much trouble I could cause because like I said, I was running mid pack at best, and say they were putting me a lap down. So I just made sure I minded my P's and Q's and just tried to learn for the future ones.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're 32 laps into this one here at Richmond International Speedway for the SIM500 Transervice Cup Series here, race 2 of the chase tonight. Right now, riding along here with Nick Silver, you can already see some of these cars already been a handful, stepping out from under each other there. I think they're starting to get to that loose point now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I noticed Adam Gilliland also, even off of 4, he got a little squirrely on throttle. So yeah, I think they're starting to have to take care of those tires that little bit extra. So I think you're going to start seeing lap times definitely change a fair bit. And it looks like we talked about earlier, the one driver on the move, Nick Cohan, he's now up into the 7th position, got around EJ and got around Chad Cole as well. So he's definitely in a really good run so far, taking care of his stuff and just making gains.
Well, yeah, I just noticed that. Yeah, y'all wasn't seeing the ticker on the actual side, on y'all side. I'm sitting here on my side. Give me 1 second, I'll fix that for y'all.
I'll say, while he's working, I can give you a quick rundown. So Adam Gillen's up in first place. Trey Edson is followed close in second, with Daniel Falkingham in third. A little further back is there's Anthony DeBarro in fourth, with Tommy Ryan right behind him. Again, and then a small gap to Justin Fuller in sixth. Nick Cohan up to 7th, Chad Cole 8th, EJ O'Rourke is 9th, and Kevin DeBrown is running in the 10th position. And I'll keep going further back here. 11th is Timothy Johnston, Jose Gonzalez in 12th. 13th is Sean Casto. 14th is Chad Coleman. Oops. As they were passing the pace car to me out there. Nick Silver and who's that? Scott Simley fighting for position. Simley right there takes over the 15th position from Silver. Shane Ewing in 17th. Nelson Rivera 18th. 19th is Nick Timms. 20th is Nigel Standish, 21st is Doug Roth, and then 22nd Sean Casto, 23rd Dwayne Vincent, 24th Joey Jatina, and then 25th is Steve Ritter, 26th Chris Jabu, Bobby Wetzel in 27th, Mike Kelly in 28th, a fair bit of nose damage unfortunately. Jason Berriman 29th, and then Glenn Campbell is in 30th position. Brian Morris Cook has disconnected it. He had a fair bit of damage from earlier on where caution didn't come out, unfortunately, so he parked it. And then we mentioned David Comstock has not taken the grid, possibly due to some technical issues. We're not sure, unfortunately.
All right, well, there you go. Okay, y'all should be able to see it now. My bad, I wasn't even paying attention. I saw it on my end, so I thought everything was good. Now let's look down there at the stream thing, and I went, whoop, wait a minute. So I apologize there to... nonetheless, but yeah, good battle up front here though. Adam Gillian had to go through a little bit of lap traffic that allowed Trey Edson there and Daniel Falkenham to close in on him. You know, we've been out here now for 41 laps so far. You're starting to see these cars get a little wiggly.
Yeah, I'd say the rears are definitely starting to burn off here. You can see just how much the field is spreading out. But of course, you got the kind of the typical front runners, but yeah, they are definitely having a handful right now. You saw all 3 of them got loose off of turn 2 right there.
Yes, they did. And Adam right there looks like he's got the most stable car. Trey behind him right there is trying to chase that thing around, but I think pit stops here. I'm gonna guess 55 laps, maybe somewhere in that area, 60.
Yeah, it's just gonna kind of depend on the pit strategy. I think it's gonna be that 1-stopper versus 2-stopper. I know I've seen both approaches. In the race I did over the weekend, there was a handful of guys that went for the 2-stopper, and it wound up burning them because the caution came out before the 1-stop guys pitted, and so all those guys were able to kind of jump them, and they all try to get their laps back at that point. So just because of how fast these cars are around this track and how long the pit lane is, it's really risky to do green flag pit stops here.
Well, you're talking about if they do just 1 stop, man,
that's about 50 more,
yeah,
not quite 50, but yeah, 45 more laps.
Whew, that's a lot.
Yeah, saying if these tires are struggling now, I can only imagine. But And that's going to be kind of the strategy is, okay, what do we think is going to happen here? Because it is very possible just on lap times that a two-stopper could work. However, the fall-off is not that bad, honestly. It's about a second and a half right now from their fastest laps to their current laps. So even though they're a handful, they're still making pretty good lap times.
Biggest thing we noticed last week, lap times, we talked about that, with tracks, especially with tracks like Las Vegas and all. We don't, here tonight. But you look, Adam Gillian ran a 21.4 his last lap. If you look all the way through the field, 28 machines. Gael, it's 21.5. That's, wow, that's only a couple tenths difference between the whole entire field. Obviously, the gap's a lot different because, time-wise, they eventually split out. But what that tells you and what it tells us and, the viewers out here, maybe tells the drivers is it is very close, very hard to pass, and everybody is on the same level right now, very, very close in time-wise.
Yeah, no, it's a really close field right now. Just, that last lap, Adam ran a 21.54, whereas the fastest was actually in 11th with Sean Castro running a 21.45, so about a tenth faster. But then everybody else, like you said, is in the range of from a 4 to a 6 or so. So it's like 0.2 of a second. The whole field right now is pretty much running. So I mean, it's going to be really hard to pass with that close of lap time or lap speed.
Yes.
And yeah, these guys are just, and again, these guys are good. They don't make very many mistakes. So that's all the more impressive, like we talked about earlier with Nick Cohan up to that 6th position starting 15th. He's made a really good run at it. So he's been running some of the faster laps, and he's about half a second or so away from catching Tommy Ryan for 5th.
And you just look at how long it's taken him just to get to 6, and that kind of puts our point on with lap times here. You talk about Sean Castro sitting in 10th. Yeah, he might have some of the fastest laps, but it's going to take him time. It's 52 laps into the run so far. So basically, folks, what we're saying is you're not going to see somebody speed bullet from the back or mid of the field here and come blowing through the field. Yes, you will see some fast guys pass some cars and come up, but it's going to take them time to do it. And then will they run out of time as far as like with the pit cycle and so forth and kind of, go around. So when you're dealing with a race like this, strategy of pit stops is going to come into play later on in the race.
Yeah, no, this is definitely going to be one where the pit strategy is going to play a big role, especially if it keeps going green like it is, because that's where, it's a really popular thing, obviously, in Formula One, where they talk about, like, doing the undercut. So it's like, okay, I'm going to pit a lap earlier, put a really fast lap in, and maybe I'll jump that guy in front of me. So you'll definitely see some strategies like that throughout this race as well. And that's going to be also, again, the if they want to make a one-stopper for fresher tires, or if they're going to try to stretch it on the 2 tires. Just depends on how hard these guys are driving the cars right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you look back about the mid-pack, back about 17th, 18th, 19th place spots, you got some good names back here. Chad Coleman, Scott Simley, Shane Ewing back there. Always got to say hey to Mom out there. Know she's watching and loving it. Nelson Rivera right there behind him. Another one out there, good driver, just, marred back in traffic. You got Nick Timms, Nigel Standish back there, Dwayne Vincent. You've got a who's who of names back here, and it just goes to show you, like I said, the level of competition out here, and this track just does not, it feeds on you a little bit. You get marred back here in traffic, you're back here in the pack, and you're like, man, I got a fast car, I can run with the leaders. But the problem is I can't get out from back here. I'm way back here off the pace.
Yeah, that could exactly be it. It could have just been they had a bad qualifying lap. It started them further in the back than they had hoped for. And just as close as all these cars are right now, just, you can't make these big moves like you might think you should be able to.
No, you can't. Doug Roth right there, Mr. STP himself, always out there running those STP colors, and looks pretty good. Scott Stencil right behind him, Joey Katina. Nice new paint job. That's actually his company that he works for out there. You got Steve Ritter there, Chris Jaboo, Mike Kelly, Bobby Wetzel. And unfortunately, we've got 3 cars right now out of the race. Jason Barham, David Comstock, Brian Boris Cook, Glenn Campbell hit the wall earlier on. He's way off the pace, but most notably out of those three, David Comstock did not make the field, did not make the start. And that's one of the chase contenders there, and wow, it's going to hurt.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one for him to, like, I mean, again, he's fast in and out every week, but it just puts himself in a potential of having to really fight his way through it at the Roval next week. And again, we talked about how difficult and how much of a crapshoot that one's going to be, because you never know in these road course races. We saw what happened in the actual Cup Series. Saw what happened where leaders wrecked in the last turn, last lap, and someone else got the lead and took the win there. So you never can say for sure.
I would hate going into a road course, Watkins Glen, maybe somebody, a track like that they know a lot of, maybe a Sonoma or something, but the Roval, fairly new track even to the real NASCAR guys. I'd hate to go in there knowing I got to make up a substantial amount of points, maybe a couple points here and there, but he's going to have to make up some huge ground if he gets knocked way back in the 14th and the 15th place spot, because again, it's only going to be the top 12 there, Gael, that's going to go on, so he's going to have to make up several spots, and on a track that's very difficult to do that on.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and even to add to that is the fact that the Roval's got the new chicane layout on the back and the back stretch now, so they may have been used to that one way, but now it's going to be a completely different layout on it. So that's going to throw them another loop as well. And I think I've seen a couple drivers now are going to do the two-stop strategy. Nigel Standish pitted. He's got fresh tires on, and it looks like Jose Gonzalez is pitting as well. So I think these two are ones that are going to take the risk. And I must say, these guys are passing like the other cars are standing still with that second and a half difference on lap times right now. So Nigel ran a 20.5 to the leader's 21.6. So yeah, even while passing cars, he was a full second faster than the leader.
I would say probably if it'd be me, I'd probably try the two-stop deal myself. Considering how the pace of the race goes, you never know when a caution's going to fly, but nonetheless, right now, Adam Gillian's the man out front and leading it. He's got a 1.1 second lead over Trey Edson, who's got Daniel Falkenham right there on his back tailgate. Those three guys have been up front leading it so far. Anthony DeBarrio right there sitting in fourth. Tommy Ryan rounds out the top five here as the lights are coming down. The nighttime is happening here, folks. It's kind of cool to see when the lights come on the track.
Yeah, it's always nice to see the way these cars shine when the lights come on. And so I'm going to add Chad Coleman to the list of guys that are pitting right now. So he's going to also go for the two-stop strategy as he comes out of the pits right behind Jose and Nigel Standish. So right now they're 2 laps down to Adam, and so that's going to be the next goal is to get around. They're working around Trey Edson right now. So they're going to work hard here to catch Adam and get down to just the 1 lap down. That way, worst case scenario, if a caution comes out, they can take a wave around and get back on the lead lap. So we'll have to see if this stays green like it has been going. I'll say knock on wood. We'll have to see how the 2 versus 1 stop fares.
Kind of be interesting, like you said, pit strategy. You got to do something here because the lap times are so close. And Jose, he's definitely going to run the leader down and get one of those laps back, and along with Nigel right there behind him. Adam's not going to put up too much of a fight. He knows, not to try to, because that'll send maybe Trey and them right there on his back bumper. As you see those two get one of their laps back here. So far, so good up front for that man right there, Adam Gillian. He definitely, last week he put it out front, and he bumped the wall a little bit. The car got a little tight on him. Tonight, he's looking pretty stable.
Yeah, he's put a pretty good gap, about a second and a half on Trey. So now he's got Chad Coleman coming up around. He's going to go around the outside of him, get one of his laps back as well. So yeah, we're going to have to keep an eye on those 3. It looks like they're the only ones at the moment that are kind of planning on this strategy. So we'll have to see how this one pans out, because I think once the leaders pit, it looks like they're going to be going for that lap 90 mark. We'll have to see what kind of a difference it is. Because I'm assuming we're going to see those 3 up front once the leaders do pit if we get to lap 90 or so under green.
Well, one thing I've noticed about watching the last couple laps here is they're not sliding around as much as they were. So either they've backed those cars down, which I mean I can tell by the lap times they were running 21 4s and 5s. Now they're down to 21 7s and 8s. So obviously they have backed the car down to try to compensate, you know, for the tire wear and for how the car's handling and so forth. But then again, we talk about this nighttime atmosphere. It could tighten this track up just a little bit and help that loose condition out here.
Yeah, saying we have a new car in the top 5. Nick Cohen is able to get around Tommy Ryan for that 5th position. So now coming up to his teammate about a half a second or so, I believe, behind Anthony DeBarro. So Nick's made a really good run, like we mentioned earlier, say from 15th to 5th right now, all under green with these 75 laps. It just looks like Chad Coleman may have had a moment. Say he's off the pace a little bit right here.
I tell you, that right there, Nick Cohan has probably been the one on the move. He's the hard charger right now so far through the field. You're right, up to 5th place. He's about 4.6 seconds off from Adam, but he's not that far off from Anthony and Daniel and all those guys up there, as you see. But one thing I've noticed, he hasn't fallen off the pace like a lot of the other guys have. He's been able to move through the field, and this long green flag run has favored him and has put him in position now that if it does turn into, well, let's say the second half of the race, a caution fest, so to speak, he's right there in the mix now. As before, he would have been marred in the middle of the pack. But what this has done is allowed him to get up here, and now he's up here with the leaders.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. Good job working his way up through the pack there. And yeah, like you said, I mean, now he's in contention. Should a yellow come out, he'll be, as long as he has a good pit stop, no mistakes, he'll be able to restart right up front with the leaders and everybody there. I say, unfortunately, Chad Coleman, we mentioned, is working his way back through the lead to get one lap down again after he had a little bit of a slide off before, able to hang on to it through the grass on the front stretch, but lost a lot of track position, track time, and yeah, having to try to regain that right now. He's still fast with his new tires, but yeah, just definitely hurt his cause though.
Yes, it did. Adam Gillian still our leader, but we're watching this man right here, Nick Cohan. He's going to be working over the back end here of Anthony DeBarrio very soon. Like, he's right there on him. He's a tick faster than him. We'll have to see once he gets to him. Again, 10 more laps, I'm going to say these guys are going to, like you said, caution's out.
That was the risk of the 2-tire stop. Let's take a look, see what happened here, who was involved.
Nigel Stanges. Let's see what happened. He just lost it coming out of the turn. He was one of the guys who actually made a pit stop, too, on newer tires. Well, let's see what happened. He was back here with Nelson Rivera. He was up underneath Nelson and just went into the turn.
Oh, yeah, he caught the 32 on exit. Kind of just got his right front to the left rear, and that was just enough contact to kind of send him around.
Well, we were just talking about it, and this right here puts maybe a little monkey wrench into kind of a lot of these guys' plans as far as pit stops goes, because they're about 8 laps short from what they are. Then you got to also throw in the fact it could be a green-white checkered. That could be at the end, but we're talking about the old Nick Cohan. Puts him in a good spot, but everybody's coming on pit road, 4 tires of fuel. That's definitely going to be what they're going to get.
Yeah, I'll take a look, see how their stops go here, make sure everybody hits their marks correctly. Obviously, Trey's got the #1 pit stall, so that's going to help his cause for trying to retake the lead here. So to see how his stop goes compared to the leaders.
Oh, no doubt. What's up, Ethan? How you doing? Notorious, how you doing? And appreciate the thought out there. And unfortunately, man, I don't know where you've been at for a while, but Tim passed away, man, back in May. And believe me, it's a heavy heart of mine on that one, because he was a very integral part here at OnlineSimRacingNetwork.com, and a good colleague and like a brother to me, man, up here. And every day I still go through and miss, man, having him here with me. But appreciate you coming by and stopping by, man, and watching, as we're under caution here. I got Gael up here, and he's got a fan club behind him. I hear him back there in the background, so that's kind of cool. It's always good to have a fan club now. And who's their favorite driver? Do they have one?
Nah, as a almost 6-year-old, she's still. I say if there was a driver that was sponsored by YouTube or something like that, she'd be their favorite driver.
About like I've got a 13-year-old, no doubt. I tell you, he loves the typical gamer out there, and he watches all those YouTubes. And I'm gonna tell you, I guess if somebody had that on their car, he'd be flying out here going, "Huh? What? What's he got?"
Yeah, well, actually, I'd say maybe I that gives me some ideas. Maybe I can get something set up there for my daughter. That way,
There
I
you
can
go.
convince her to have me be your favorite driver. Let's say one thing I do have to mention, say that little hiccup by Chad Coleman. Unfortunately, he does not get the. He was still 2 laps down, so he's going to have to take the wave around here to get back to 1 lap down. So that little mix up for him, unfortunately, that's going to really hurt his chances. So he'll be on older tires and still be down a lap. So he's going to definitely have his work cut out for him to regain that track position. It looks like Nigel Stanish is going to stay out as well to get his wave around, as well as Jose. So that's going to put Jose and Nigel back on the lead lap, I believe. I think it's going to put Chad Coleman 2 laps down. I'm going to wait till everything cycles through. Oh, I think, okay, yeah, so Jose's going to get back to lead lap, but Nigel and Chad Coleman will be 1 lap down after they cycle through.
Yeah, Nigel, the one bringing out the caution, so obviously he's not going to get that wave around. Just unfortunate on his end as getting set here. Daniel Falkenham up front there along with Adam Gillian. Trey Edson looks like Daniel won the battle off pit road over them. You got Anthony DeBarro right there, Nick Cohan sitting in 5th. But I appreciate it there, Notorious Man, as always. A little support of all the viewers and everybody. And I know the SIM500 does too here with the Transervice Cup Series here tonight. Been a good one. We're under the lights here at Richmond, getting set to go back green flag racing as the lights off on the pace car. Pace car ducks off. Here we go. Adam Gillian, he ran them down. He led them pretty much the whole entire first half there, and he's back out front again.
Really aggressive move by Anthony DeBarro to get to the bottom. I'm guessing his teammate cut him a little bit of slack there, but he really was aggressive getting to that bottom before he got to turn 1 there. So that way, you're going to see these guys all try to fight to get to that spot. A really good battle here for second between Trey Edson and Daniel Falkingham.
Well, I tell you, we got battles all over. You're right. Battle for second, battle back here for about the 4th and 5th place spot. That's the thing about Richmond. There's all over the place. Trey Edson was able to grab that 2nd place spot. Nick Cohan, he's in a tussle there with the 99 or Tommy Rhines. They're going to go door to door. Is Nick going to be able to muscle his way and get that spot? Right now, he's got it. I think he's going to be able to keep it.
Yeah, he was able to get through in 1. I was saying Tommy did a really good job of sliding in right behind him, make sure he didn't get kind of freight trained up the top. And say another one we mentioned earlier is Sean Casto. He started 17th. He's now up to the 7th position. So both him and Nick have jumped 10 spots from their starting position. So really good job by those guys at the start of this race.
Another one there too at the 12th. Shane Ewing, just noticed that. He was way back there in the 20-some spot. And just as soon as I said something, he slams the wall, loses it coming out of the turn. Shame on you, Gael. You shouldn't have said his name.
I say we have that commentator's curse, I feel like, unfortunately, to take a look, see what happened here.
Yeah, watching a replay right here. He just lost it, looped it coming out of the turn and slams the inside wall. But, man, he had come up through the field so well, had a great pit stop. Not the way that he wanted his night to go there. Shane Ewing, I tell you, wow. Was almost in the top 10.
Yeah, he was running, looked like around 12th or so when that happened. So, yeah, definitely unfortunate. Curious to see about pit strategies here. Yeah, you're going to see a split strategy. Oh, some fakers going on big time there. Looks like it's going to leave DeBarro pretty lonely in there in pit road.
It is. I mean, but this might help him out because it does put him on that one-stop strategy as everyone else is going to be kind of, on the 2-stop. What's up, Real? How you doing out there? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens up front with Adam Gillian. I think cautions do breed cautions, but it's kind of unusual. We went almost 80 laps there, and now all of a sudden I'm wondering the track conditions, have they changed that much where these cars are now snapping loose out of the turn?
Yeah, it could definitely be that. I say it's also very likely that just drivers running that little bit extra. You know, it's like, okay, I'm on lap 1, I'm gonna take it easy and just kind of let things settle in. Where it's like now you're like, okay, I'm past halfway, I got to step it up a notch. I say this caution really did benefit Jose. I say that's going to let him now cycle back to the lead lap, get fresh tires, and be on the same cycle as the leaders. And I believe that's also going to help Chad Coleman because now he can get fresh tires. He'll still be a lap down, but he'll be in a good position to get that free pass on the next one.
Absolutely. Most notably, the man out of the race tonight, David Comstock, did not make the start, back in 31st position, folks, and he's one of the chase drivers. Had an outstanding run last week. But with with 29 drivers out here running right now, and we have got one more race in the before we go to the second part of the chase here, and it dials it down to 12 drivers. Next week we go to the Roval, not a track you want to be in a hole with, and this is going to put David in a hole. And unfortunately, we still haven't found out maybe what happened to him. I don't know if anybody's out there that can. Gillenwater out there, but maybe find out what happened to him. I don't know if it's just a case of he just missed it, had some technical difficulties. The crew said, look, we're taking a break tonight. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he didn't take him out for ice cream after last week. You never know. So I'll say sometimes those crew people are a little fickle. So hopefully it's nothing bad. I'll say definitely miss seeing him out here. I'm sure some of his competitors don't share that sentiment because like, all right, now I got an even better chance because obviously he's one of the pretty typical front runners over in the series.
Oh, absolutely. He was doing an outstanding job last week, but just, tragedy tonight, unfortunately not making the start. And that's what we talked about last week. These two races are definitely wild card style races. Short track and then a road course next week at the Roval. Going to be interesting to see what happens. But that man, Adam Gillian, he is out front right now, along with Trey Hetson, Nick Cohan, who has just muscled his way to the front, along with Daniel Falkingham right there. Tommy Ryan rounds the top 5. We're getting set to go back green.
Yeah, so now we're going to see if there's going to be any potential teamwork here between the 21 and the... Oh, no, he pitted. Sorry, I'm completely off. So Nick's going to have to work hard to get to the bottom.
Yes, he is, and everybody gets a good start. Adam gets a good jump out front, and I'm going to tell you, Trey Edson was right there with him.
Yeah, Trey wasted no time, gets to the bottom there. So now Nick's going to have to really fight, see if he can either get around Daniel Falkingham on the outside, or if he's careful enough, he can try to slot right in behind him. But looks like he's going to stay up top for now. It looks like he should be able to fill that bottom here, though, right there.
Man, I'll go back on the replay right here. Justin Fuller had to chase that car down because Anthony DeBarrio got in the back end of him, almost shot him around, then he almost lost it coming out of the turn. He had to chase that thing down the track, and caution's out.
Now we talked about the cautions, breeding cautions. Take a look, see what happened here. Trying to see who it involved. Looks like it may have involved Joey Jatina in the 14. I'm trying to double check. Yeah, it's like he may have had a little bit of help entering turn 1 there. Yeah, looks like the 16, I believe, of Steve Ritter.
Well, it was back there where him and Justin Fuller were side by side also. It's where Justin he got a little loose. That kind of made the whole pack kind of get, bunched up. And then, those two just trying to take the same real estate, got together, bam.
And I'll wait till everything's official, but I think this will be very good news for Chad Coleman. I think he'll get the wave around here, and that'll put him back on the lead lap with the rest of the field. So for having a bad situation, this turned out as best it could for how the earlier part had gone, and that'll leave Nigel Standish as the last car 1 lap down.
Absolutely. Well, just to answer that question out there, I don't really think starting park would help David Comstock. He might get points, but it's like what we're talking about. It's going to put him outside if he stays where he's at, and a lot of these guys have good runs, most notably like Nick Cohen and all these other guys. It's going to put him outside of the top 12, and that's just not what you want going into the Roval.
Yeah, so I want to take a look at the points right now. So he was in third in points, fourth in points, 18 out of the lead. So I mean, yeah, so he's about 20 points out of lead, and so that puts him what 22 points ahead of Nelson Rivera in 13th. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be. I'm gonna be very interested to see how the points turn out. I'll try to see if I can give you guys an update on the
Yeah.
points before we go off air tonight, to see where everything's gonna shake out. So usually the admins here are really quick about getting things up to date, so that way we can report it to you on
Yeah.
before we get to the next race. So I'll definitely try to get that done.
And you know, you can also visit sim500.com anytime. Check out the points, check out the series, and check out all the stuff going on there too, and get all the info that you can. You know, if they don't update it here before we can get to it, so definitely check out sim500.com for all the info and whatnot on what's going on with the chase and all the series that are happening throughout the week and so forth. But yeah, we'll be interested. You know, I'm not going to say it, or let me rephrase. I'm not going to say it's going to knock him out of the top 12, but he's going to be going into the Roval very, very close, and he's going to have a good run.
I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna jump down and bug some of the crew guys who are on his team, and I'm gonna do some investigative reporting, and I will get back to you in just a moment,
good deal.
Joe.
Sounds good. I tell you what, and we're racking them back up here side by side and getting set here to go back green flag racing under the lights here, Richmond International Speedway. Hope everyone's enjoying it so far. And well, we went about 70, 80 laps caution free, and cautions breed caution. The last 10 or 15 laps here, we've had a couple of them out here, and that's just the name of the game when it comes to short track racing. You know, sometimes these guys, man, they get a little happy. That's all right. They'll get it straightened out. They'll get them going right here soon enough. As the lights off on the pace car, Adam Gillian's going to bring them to the line along with Trey Edson, Daniel Falkenham, Nick Cohan, Tommy Ryan. Rounds the top fives. We're getting set here to go green.
So it sounds like he might be doing his Monday to Friday job. Boss wouldn't let him come out and race tonight, so he had to make some bucks that way. But sounds like he might be still trying to make a few laps if he can get back in time. And that's all I could get for now.
Hey, that's fine. Understand real life stuff comes up. So we're back to green flag here at Richmond. And that's just one of those things. Hey, we understand, man, that, you know, some things are more important. But, you know, he definitely has a fast enough car. He's going to be able to build a battle back. Because right now we've got a battle for second. Trey Edson right there with Daniel Falkenham. Nick Cohan's going to fall in line down low. See if he can't ride in the tire tracks there, Daniel. If he can't get what he can get right now. Tommy Ryan, Chad Cole's up to 6 here. John Castro, like you said, up to 7.
Yeah, I'll say again, we see the same thing. Everybody's trying to fight for that same real estate, get to the bottom. I'll say one thing I was able to pick up on as well when I was trying to check on the whereabouts is obviously with some of his teammates being part of that group. You commented earlier about the 27 and the 51 getting together on that before that last caution, and well, the 51 wasn't very happy about it. So the 27 might have to be a little careful if Justin can get back to his bumper. So let's say some insider info for you guys. Let's say no surprise that tempers flare here at a short track. Pretty typical Richmond stuff.
Hey, a short track race, and I always say beating and banging. It comes with the territory here. But you're right there, Anthony. He's just trying to get back to the front side, and I guess he felt like there Justin just was in the way. And right now, Justin Fuller back at 21st. Anthony up to 9th. EJ's right there behind him. Scott Simley. As everybody's gotten single file again, I was saying there before we went back green there, Gael. We went almost 80 laps caution free with the last 15 or so laps. We had a couple of them. That's just typical to a short track race. You know, cautions breed cautions.
Yeah, I was saying it looks like this restart's got strung out a little bit better. So I mean, I got a little bit more hope on this one being a longer run. And the other part that's going to be interesting here is with those couple of cautions, the leaders staying out like they did. It's very possible with those caution laps. I wonder if they could actually make it now from here on fuel. I mean, we know DeBarro should be able to with him topping off. But yeah, I mean, he's only got about 10 laps or so more fuel than the leaders do, and a lot of those are run under yellow. So It's very possible that he might still be in a pretty good position, or I should say the other guys might still be in a good position where they are.
Time will tell. We'll have to see what these guys can do, and you know, obviously green white checkered, that's something else you got to throw into the mix right there. You know, we'll get one attempt of that if that happens at the end here. But you're right, Anthony right now, he's got about, like you said, 18 laps on his tires and or the stint he's been on. Everybody else 27. A lot of those laps, though, within the caution. There's several other guys out there in the same boat that Anthony is, actually from 14th on back.
Yep, I say, and then of course then you got those ones that just pitted this last yellow, like Fuller and Coleman. They'll obviously be trying to work their way forward, and they have even less laps on their tires, about 8 or so laps less than DeBarro. So, and again, I mean, these tires were wearing, so I mean, 5 laps could be enough to make enough of a difference to make it that just have that much better of a chance of trying to make some passes on the track.
Biggest thing about Anthony, he's got the damage on the nose. Don't know how that's going to upset the car. Even though with the newer tires that he has, lap time wise, he's not as fast as Adam right now, or the top guys up there. So definitely not helping him as much as he would like for it to help. You don't know how much that actual damage with him and Justin earlier is affecting the car.
Yeah, so anytime you got right front damage, that's never a good thing. So he was able to get by Sean Castor right there, but Sean's got a fair bit of nose damage. I think Sean's hurting the most on new tires, but once the tires start wearing and the arrow starts losing its importance compared to just having the overall grip, that seems to be when Sean's able to kind of recover from that nose damage that he's got at the moment.
Yes, it is. E.J. O'Rourke right there in the 10th place spot. He's got Scott Simley and working over Sean Castro for the moment, as all those guys are kind of nose to tail battling it out. And just everybody single file right now, trying to take it easy. We're at lap 114 of 180 here tonight at Richmond. Under the lights, race number 2 of the chase here for the Transervice SIM500 Cup Series here. Been a good one, as we still got, we've got quite a bit of racing to go. But the man out front, Adam Gillian, he has dominated this run so far.
Yeah, he's put a gap on these guys. Almost 1.3 seconds it looks like on Trey Edson. And so he's running about, the last time by was about half a tenth quicker. So as I say, that yellow just came out.
Ooh, yellow.
Got a couple cars there. Looks like the Scott Simley and E.J. O'Rourke.
Yeah, we were just talking about E.J. Guess I better quit talking about some of these guys, because it seems like they're wrecking every time I'm talking. But yeah,
actually, Sean Castro blew up.
I see that, and EJ nowhere to go. And when it happened, EJ actually got right into the back end of him. Let's watch it one more time here. You're right. Sean blew up, so he slowed down instantly. EJ's nowhere to go. That's just that closing rate. Boom. And then Scott Simley just got into the back of him because he had nowhere to go. So kind of a chain reaction, and unfortunately wrong place, wrong time. But wow, I'm just wondering why Sean would have blown up unless he missed a gear or missed a shift.
I mean, he had a fair bit of nose damage from earlier in the race. I'm not sure when it happened, but you could see on the front of the car he had a fair bit of damage on it. So I'm wondering if maybe just either didn't get repaired enough, or possibly just maybe the nose is too crinkled up, wasn't getting enough air into the car, and just got too hot.
Well, this right here is going to throw all the pit strategy stuff out the window. They'll definitely be able to make it from here on out, whether it goes green or we have 9 million more cautions. Either way, they're going to be able to make it from here to the end of the race. And Nick Cohan's off. Who's going to make it out? Is he going to make it? It's a battle all pit road. Going to make it about 4th. Adam Gillian's going to be the man that's going to win it all pit road, though.
Yeah, say another really good stop by Adam. And it was really close. I was going to say it was really close between Daniel and Trey. I wasn't sure who got it. Looks like Trey was able to get ahead there. Yeah, so it's going to pretty much be the same orders. It'll be Adam, then Trey, then Daniel, and then looks like Nick Cohan 4th, Tommy Ryan 5th, and Anthony DeBarro's up to the 6th position now. So, I mean, DeBarro, I say he must have heard you because he had been making some moves those last few laps before the yellow came out.
Well, we'll see if he's been able to make any more here tonight. He's up to 7th right now. But Shane Ewing staying out there to try to maybe get a couple more laps here in. Adam Gillian should be cycled around as the leader when if he drops off in the pit road. Trey Etson's right there. Daniel Falkenham, Nick Cohan, Tommy Ryan. It goes to Anthony Navarro, Chad Cole, Nick Silver, Doug Roth made it up to the top side. That's a good little pit stop for him.
Oh, that's actually a really good plan there by Shane Ewing. With it, he's obviously got a fair bit of damage on the front, so I'll say his race is kind of, he can't do too much now. He's on the lead lap still, so what he did there is he stayed out, led a lap to get a bonus point. Now he's going to go ahead and pit and take tires, get some more damage fixed. So that's a really good plan for him there. Just get as much as he can, get that extra point for leading the lap, and then now just get some tires and get damage fixed and see what he can do.
Well, that's a good question, and one that I would have to ask Sean Castro, because I'm not 100% sure, and for the moment, let's bring him up and ask him. Sean, Joe in the booth, you got a copy? Sean, it's Joe in the booth, you got a copy?
Wonder if he's
stepped away. Yeah,
he's probably helping his crew fix the car right now.
Oh well,
down here.
Real quick question. Before we go back green here, how in the world did the motor blow? That's the question they want to know.
Yeah, it's a real shame. Like to thank the team first, Nick, everybody in the series. We had speed. No, Fuller waffled it per usual one time, and I accidentally drove through him trying to get past it, and evidently 15 seconds of damage was enough to grenade the engine in front of the field there.
Okay, so damage. They were wondering if you were shifting out there, and it was just one of the questions, those guys. But, man, hate to see it out there. It's getting set to go green, but, hey, hope you can get back out there.
Appreciate it, fellas.
All righty, I'll tell you what. We'll see if we can't get him back in there. So we're getting set to go back green, and hope that answered the question out there for you. And get back to green. Adam Gillian gets a good jump out in the front.
Yeah, it's a good start by him, and you got Trey's able to hang on to that second spot, and it's a really good fight here for third and also for fifth right now between the two Toyota teammates of DeBarro and Cohan, and then you got Falkingham, and then what was that, Tommy Ryan there. So now we're gonna see, are the teammates gonna work together? If Nick can't get around Falkingham, will DeBarro lift a little bit to let him slide in there and hang on to that bottom spot?
Absolutely. Right now, Nick, he's door to door there with Daniel. They're going to see if he can't get around him. You're right, Anthony's right there on the back end looking, but he's got his hands full with Tommy Ryan. They are still side by side. I think, though, for the moment, that inside lane's the place to be. But then again, after a while, the tires, they keep wearing out. That high line could pay dividends.
Yeah, so the hope is that you could get the 39 a little bit loose, ideally on exit. But yeah, you'd be able to slide there right in front of his teammate there in the 27. So I'll say they'll stay in line there. I think that's a little bit of teamwork, helping each other out there to not lose any extra positions.
Absolutely. Justin Fuller back up to 12th place. Nelson Rivera right there along with him. They're side by side, duking it out back here with Doug Roth. Nick Timms making moves up to the front here. Jose Gonzalez is trying to fire back. Dwayne Vincent up there. So some of these guys have been able to capitalize pretty well on this, these cautions out here.
Yeah, saying that's the thing, is like just kind of trying to recover as best you can and make the most of it. I say that's kind of just take advantage of the situations where other people maybe have some damage that they need to get repaired, so you're able to keep your car clean, and you get a quick pit stop and you're able to jump some of those guys in the pits.
Well, a huge battle right here. Nick Timms and Doug Roth, and Justin Fuller's right behind him. He's trying to figure out which way these guys are going to go because he knows he's fast. Time's running out. He's got to get around them and make his way to the front, because we talked about earlier, if he gets a long green flag run, we saw what happened. Times kind of neutralize off, and Doug has to chase that car down the track, almost lost it.
Yeah, that was a moment for Doug, and I was looking around the field a little bit, and I noticed a familiar green, white, and black cars has now taken the track. So 42 of David Comstock is on track. 127 laps down. However, he could actually gain a few spots here. I think for sure he'll be able to get one on Brian Boris Cook. and possibly Jason Barham. I'm not sure if there's enough laps left for that or not for him to do, but he'll be able to gain a few.
Looking, Jason Barham's down 85 laps. He's down 127. I think he might be able to at least get
40?
one. Yeah, it's about 40, so he should be able to get one. Yeah.
So he should be able to get up to the 30th position if he's able to hang on where he is on the laps on it. So again, I mean, 2 points could be a big difference. You never know. So
anything happen or anything will help.
But yeah, right now Trey's got Daniel Falkenham working all over him right now, trying different lines and trying to see maybe he can get a good exit on the turn and make a run on him here off of 2. He actually gets a really good exit. He's thinking about it. No, he does not go for it that time by. But I say a 39 is definitely trying to see if he can get around Trey here, make a run and say, I think he's like, you know what? I don't know if you have anything for Adam, so let me give it a shot.
Absolutely, right there, good run amongst them two, and battle's on back here. Justin Fuller, he's door to door here with Nick Timms. Nick's not wanting to give that spot up.
Oh, that is really close. I don't know if they touched it now, but if not, it was as close as it could be.
That's about as close as you can get without touching. You're right, but he went in, he shot into the turn right there, and he's got that inside. Let's see, though, if it's going to hold, but man, Nick Timms fires back on the outside.
Yeah, I think this is like you're talking about when the tires wear a little bit more, the outside's just got that exit speed, so it's not as easy than with the fresh tires to complete these passes. So Justin's going to have to work to get around Nick. I'll say he's definitely not an easy one to pass right now.
No, and Nick's doing what he needs to do to hang on to that spot. I got to give him all the credit in the world. There's the 9 times himself. Nick Timms, he's on the high lane there, holding strong with the 51 down low as those two are just battling it out door to door.
Yeah, they are fighting really hard here for that 10th position. I'd say it's a really good battle. It's every time it's like Nick's just close enough where he can maybe run back to the bottom, but he just doesn't quite have enough to clear Justin completely. I think he might have. Oh man, that was close off of 4.
Well, right there, inches. You could put maybe a piece of paper in between the bumpers right there between them. Justin has to fall back in the 11th place spot right behind him as Nick Timms takes over the 10th place spot. That's just tires right there. I think, Justin might be a touch faster, but I feel like he's probably going to have to say, well, bump and run comes to mind. He might have to move him. He almost lost it right there.
Yeah, he got loose up before, got a little too aggressive on the throttle. He talked about that's a danger spot they have to be careful of, so he'll have to regroup and try to get back to the bumper of Nick and see if he can either pressure him into a mistake or kind of, like you said, just maybe have to move him out of the way a little bit. But he is getting really loose up before again right there.
Well, I talked about it last week. Justin Fuller, he did an outstanding job there at Las Vegas, winning it last week. And I said, you know what? You're a very aggressive style driver. I said a lot of times you come out here and you run the wheels off of it. And but he changed his driving style in the second half of the race and was able to hang on. Well, tonight you can see it already getting loose, and I've seen that the past several weeks. Just the car starts getting out from under him. Let's hope he can keep that thing under control.
Yes, and I think he may have learned a little bit too from fighting on the bottom there. As I noticed, he's running about half a group higher there that last time by in 3 and 4. I was obviously giving Nick a lot of momentum on the top side. So as I noticed, he's changed his groove a little bit, and it seems like it's giving us some really good exit speed here. So I wonder if maybe he'll even try looking at make a move on the top side instead of trying to force the bottom here.
Gonna have to do something as time's running out here. There's less than 40 to go tonight here at Richmond under the lights for the Transervice Cup Series here, presented by SIM500. Appreciate everybody tuning in. If you like what you see, a like it or share here, share that thing out. I know the league would definitely appreciate it with all the drivers and all. Good battle happening here at the 10th place spot. Nick Timms, Justin Fuller, Nelson Rivera back there just slowly but surely just kind of hanging out and running. But the man all night long, Adam Gillian, he wants to come out of here with the win, come out of here with the points lead, going into the Roval. That'll definitely make you feel a little bit more confident.
Yes, I'm looking through the field here. Chad Cole's able to sneak by Nick Silver there for the 7th position, so move him up a spot. I'll say they're about maybe just half a second away from DeBarro. Again, probably a little bit of right front damage not helping his cause with his machines. he's definitely not got the same kind of pace as he did earlier in the run.
Now, curiosity, Gael, Nick Cohan, I know we talked about him all night long. He came in tonight at where at into the points?
I believe he was actually 15th in points. It was definitely in a hole. Let me take a look here. I have it open still. Yeah, he was 15th in the points, 49 out of the lead, which would put him about 29 out of the 6th position where Trey Edson is sitting, or if you wanted to, it'd be 30 behind DeBarro.
Okay. All right, so he technically coming out here, if he has a good run and stays where he's at here tonight, actually should move him up closer to that cutoff line there of the 12 drivers. So maybe not have as much work if he can come out with a good finish next week at the Roval.
Yeah, no, I think he'll be in really good shape there if he can hang on to this finishing position he's at. I say he has benefited obviously from what happened to David, and unfortunately for Sean Casta with his damage with the blowing up the motor. Those are definitely gonna be ones to help his cause out here.
Absolutely, right now, but the man out front, Adam Gillian, right now with Trey Edson in second, Daniel Falkenham the third, Nick Cohan the fourth, Tommy Ryan hangs on to the 5th place spot.
I'll say, I can't believe I missed that when I was checking the points and everything. It looks like, Justin Fuller was able to get by Nick Timms. I'll say, took a little bit of a hip check off the exit of turn 4, cost Nick a little bit of momentum, and that let Justin get by, and so he's been able to, he hasn't really ditched him or anything like that, but he's definitely got a couple car lengths of a gap now over that 17 car.
Absolutely. Right now, Anthony DeBarro hanging on to 6th. Chad Cole, we call him, man, just comes out here and he's consistent week in and week out. He's hanging on to 7th right now. Nick Silver, a good run by him with Tommy Johnson there in 9th. And Justin Fuller, he is back up to 10th. He made it around Nick Timms.
Yeah, so he's definitely starting to put some gap on him now. I'll say good. Now that he's got the clean air, he's able to make a run. So now he's going to definitely try to catch Timothy Johnston. And I say I'm trying to see who's got the lap times right now. Actually, Fuller, that last time by, was the fastest car on the track, and waiting for everything to cycle through here. But this last time by looks like it may be Nick Cohan in the 21 car.
Absolutely. Good run amongst everybody. And we're just talking about David Comstock. He is definitely, he is right now, he is in 20 laps from taking over Jason Barham's spot. So he definitely has time, and he definitely has the laps to be able to get it done.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be the goal, is to get up to 30th. Obviously, that's as far as he's going to get, because after Barham, you've got Sean Casta, who is about 70 laps ahead of Jason. So yeah, that'll be all he can get for tonight. But again, I mean, 2 points is 2 points. I mean, you never know how close things are going to be. Like you said at the Roval, I mean, there was what was it last year, I think, with Kyle Larson, just kind of that one car that was stalled before the start finish line. He's bouncing off the walls to get to the finish line. That one spot was what got him into the next segment.
Well, we've got some controversy right here. Nelson Rivera was running very good, all of a sudden blinked out. He has not been able to come back on. And folks, when I say that, we are on a virtual world, and sometimes what happens, disconnects or anything like that could happen. So unfortunately, the 22 machine, who was having a good run tonight, is back in 27th, 2 laps down now out of the race, as I'm watching this battle here with Jose and Doug Roth.
Yeah, saying he hasn't cycled back in yet. I'm waiting to see if he does fall out, because again, he's another one of those guys in the playoffs. So it's just, those are some of those things that you don't think about as much, because obviously in the real world you don't have to worry about that, but weather, connection issues, real life, I mean, all of those things play a role into this. So the fact that these guys are able to do week in and week out just kind of shows the dedication that they have for this league and for this series.
But you know, and I always say there's some things like you pretty much just said it, you just can't control. And unfortunately, yeah, Nelson Rivera is out. Connection dropped. See him in here in the garage, a team speak there. He is gone. Unfortunately, his night is done as of right now, unless he just gets back out here and tries to run some more laps. But hate to see that, because he had a good run. But again, like I say, folks, Gael mentioned it right there. There's some things we can't control. Mother Nature, power outages, internet, computer problems. We are on a virtual world, but we chalk that up as like the real thing. Sometimes they have motor problems, transmission problems, tire blowout, run out of fuel, a guy gets sick, something, whatever, things that they can't control. So we kind of have our ways and they have their ways.
Yeah, so there's definitely like you have those certain times where those big teams will have like a $5 part cost them a championship. So I mean, it's just that's how it is for all of these guys. You never know what little thing it could be. But say I'm trying to keep an eye up front. Say at this point, Adam's kind of just checked out, so he's ready for this thing just to stay green for the remaining 20. Let's say Daniel's still working on Trey as hard as he can. I'd say, but it looks like Nick Cohen's pretty equal with him as well. Lap time, he just doesn't have the track position that he needs to try to get up to him at this point. But yeah, I'd say these top 5 are all spread out pretty evenly right now.
Yeah, right now, like you just said, Adam Gillian's holding it up. So I'm watching back here about 19th place spot. Mike Kelly's having a good battle back here with the actual Joey Katina. Those two have been going at the last couple laps.
Yeah, say Mike's had a little bit of nose damage from the beginning of this race, kind of having tried to fight through that as well, just trying to recover as best he can. So he's able to sneak by him there for 18th, and then right on the back of Jose Gonzalez for the 17th position.
Well, I tell you, they doing some racing back here in the back here. Nobody told them that, hey, look, we're not battling for the lead, but they're back here definitely battling for position amongst all these guys with about the 17th, 18th, 19th place spot. As Adam Gillian, like you just said, he's got a 1.5 second lead over Trey Edson, who has got Daniel Falkenham right there behind him, Nick Cohan the 4th, and Tommy Ryan still in the 5th place spot.
Yeah, see where you're talking about right here from about 17th on back is a little bit of a hornet's nest, really. It's a really good battle with Mike and Jose. And then behind them as well, you've got Kevin DeBrown, Steve Ritter, and Nigel Stanish are really going after each other as well.
Yes, they are. Good racing happening back there amongst those. And as everybody's kind of single file throughout the field, as we're getting set here at about 15 to go here at Richmond, race number 2 of the chase here. Next week we go to the Roval. Whole new configuration, so pretty much a whole new track at that for these guys. Some guys are going to have their hands worked 3 wide back here in the back where we were talking about. Nigel Stan just there. And you got the 93 machine there. Kevin Brown almost tried to stick his nose in there.
So you definitely know what Adam wants to see right now. Says Nigel's going to try to do a crossover here on Steve Ritter entering turn 3. It's really close on exits. Oh my goodness.
That was close. Saw that right there. Just inches upon inches on the back bumper. Definitely right now, Adam probably is thinking, please don't have a caution. Normally he probably would want one, but I think at this point, the lead he's got, the way it is, and Nigel got a little bump from the backside of Kevin Brown. He was able to hold on to that machine. But man, these guys back here, they're beating and banging and leaning on each other.
Yeah, that's not where you want to give somebody a little bit of help. I say entry of the turns is not a good place to give a little bump there. I say you want to try to get him a little loose, maybe right on the very exit. But I say the problem for Kevin is Nigel's still right there, so he'll definitely, I say if he can get back to him, I'm sure he'll repay the favor.
Absolutely. As the guys are still back here, just to update on David Comstock, he is only a couple laps away from taking up and getting up to the 30th place position. And from that point on, pretty much he's not going to be able to get anything else. But, you know, like we said, every position, man, counts and everything helps. As a good run so far, long run. They've been out there for 50-some laps. He definitely can make it the entire way. As one more lap, be 10 to go here at Richmond.
Yeah, I'd say another moment just a little further up. Chad Coleman was fighting with Scott Simley there for the 13th position. Kind of touched a little bit on the exit of 4, and Chad Coleman had to chase it all the way down to the grass, basically. Able to hang on to it, lost the spot to the 43 of Doug Roth, but still going as well. But yeah, like I said, up front, I say things are kind of calm at the moment, but man, it's pretty busy mid-pack.
It is right now. A good battle here with Nick Timms, Scott Simley for the 12th and 13th place spot.
Yeah, and Steve Ritter now is working on Jose. Mike Kelly was able to get by them. So let's say that they're going for the 18th and 19th position. Really close fighting there. And then yeah, you've got Nick and Simley right there for the 12th position.
Yes, it is. They'll go door to door, and that's actually for the 12th and 11th place spot right there. And you're right. We definitely want to appreciate Transervice coming on board here, sponsoring the entire, and definitely all the sponsors. English Town Auto, Ford Entertainment Group, Kick-Ass Beef Jerky, and WCI Parts definitely coming on board throughout the whole entire series of the SIM500. And hey, appreciate the guys letting us here at OSR Network Online, SimRacingNetwork.com. Your home for fun and exciting sim racing. Coming on board here to bring all this action to you, because it has definitely been an action-packed. Hey, we're not done with the season yet, folks. We're going to crown us a champ going into Homestead. But these guys here, well, some of these guys are battling for their life to try to get into the second half of the chase.
Yeah, saying I'm watching. I say there's still about 7 laps to go, but I mean some of these guys are on the ragged edge right now. It's like 6 to go. Actually, Adam's starting to catch some of the guys in the back of the field.
Battle for second place here. Daniel Falkenham, he shoots to the inside. He's going to try to take that spot over Trey Edson. He knows time's running out with 5 to go here at Richmond. They'll go door to door for the moment. Can he be able to get it, as Daniel's got the inside preferred lane, I believe, right now?
Yeah, he did a really good one too. Nope, I thought Trey was gonna go for the crossover there, but he actually just kind of stayed in line there. I'm a little surprised by that, but Trey might know that this is gonna be a really good points night for him, and like we kind of talked about, just all right, I'm not gonna get the win, so let me just make sure I don't do anything to hurt my cause for next week at the Roval. I'm guessing right behind them, Nick Cohen was kind of rooting for them to fight each other hard there, so he can try to make a battle of it for himself as well.
He would also like to see what Trey just did right there, smack the wall again. He came up there, kind of shot up the track just a little bit, just, scuffed it ever so slightly. But we got 3 to go for the man out front, Adam Gillian. He has dominated this race tonight. He has led 159 laps out here. And so far, he just wants to put it in cruise control and see if he can't bring it around. And hopefully he's going to have a good pad going into the Roval next week to try to get himself into the top 12, going after the Roval there, going into the chase.
Yeah, so he's just hoping everybody else kind of minds their manners these last couple laps. Got Nick Silvers trying to see if he can make one last charge here on Anthony DeBarro for that 6th position. I say I'm kind of looking through here as well, trying to see if anybody else really going after it. Yeah, you've got the 43 and the 17 are fighting really hard right here for the 13th position. Doug Ross can see if he can make something happen there. He's got one more lap to try to make it happen. But they say not far behind is the...
Out of turn 4, Adam Gillian's going to win this thing here tonight. He's going to do it. I tell you, and that's just something that these guys here on the track, I mean, definitely, he dominated the regular season all season long. The first race of the chase, he was fast, had a few little hiccups right there, but he comes home tonight here at Richmond under the lights and wins it.
Yeah, a really good run by him. I say he was strong all night. Say Trey, I don't know. I think Daniel and Trey were pretty close, and maybe just that little bit, maybe a 1/10 of a second or so is all they needed, or not even that, maybe half a 1/10.
He's going to burn them down right now. Trey Edson, the man, comes up in 3rd, along with Daniel Falkenham. So absolutely good run. Nick Cohan moving up to 4th. Got to give him the Hard Charger Award tonight. He did an outstanding job there for him.
Yeah, so there's some really good runs there. Like I said, Nick from 15th to 4th. Dwayne Vincent from 27th to 11th. Nick Silver from 19th to 7th. So yeah, there were some really good runs by these guys tonight, making just big gains throughout the race.
Absolutely. All right, a very good race here for race number 2 tonight. Guys, man, doing an outstanding job, man. I loved it there. Well, let's bring some of these guys up here and get a word in with them here. Trey Edson and company, as we see right there, these guys burning them down. But Trey Edson, 3rd place, man. Let's bring him up. Let's get a word with him.
User was moved to your channel.
Yeah, I've got Trey Edson here in the number 40 Transervice Chevy Camaro. So he started on pole. Just didn't seem like you had the outright speed, though, to hang on to Adam Gill in there. He seemed like he got about a 1/10 or so, maybe half a 1/10 or so on the field that whole run.
Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there. I've been teammates with Adam for I think 6 or 7 years now, and he's good everywhere, but there's like a select few tracks where he's just like on another level, and this is one of them. It's kind of like when the Real Cup Series goes to Atlanta and Harvick has his own little deal he does. Well, there's a specific line that Adam runs, and he's just super consistent with it. There's a few laps I can do it, and I mean you can feel it. Like if you hit the line and you're consistent enough with it, like you can feel the front end cut better, and there's more grip, and it just it was like I think it was like a half a tenth to a tenth difference when I would hit the line and miss it. So he's just super consistent at it, and I'm not. So that was the biggest difference. I feel like I held Daniel up 145 laps, and he finally got me there at the end. So it's a chase race. I'm gonna take a third. There ain't no complaining on my side. I just kind of want to have a first. I want to have a smooth 9 races and then go to Homestead and let all hell break loose.
Yeah, so we're talking about towards the end when I was curious to see if you're gonna try to do a crossover on Daniel and see if you can make a run back at him. But we were commenting where it's like, well, third in the grand scheme of things, third's probably good. That way, a little less pressure on you entering the Roval next week. But I say, was there anything in the race that stood out to you? I mean, we went about 80. I think it was about 80 laps under the first green flag run, then a couple cautions right off the bat, and then it went green again towards the end. Was there anything during those runs that stood out to you?
How much I fell off compared to everyone around me. I feel like it's like I burnt the right front up, but then when we all pitted at the first caution, I actually had 4% more right front than Adam and Daniel. So that blew my mind a little bit to have more right front, but it felt like I was just plowing. So I don't know if I was overdriving the corner or not slowing the car up enough for the center. But no, nothing really. It's same old Richmond. You kind of want to, you can move around, but you're just going to chew your stuff up. There was a little bit halfway through that first run where we all three kind of moved around, just searching, and it works for a few laps, but you're just going to chew your tires up and piss them off. So as soon as that right rear gets hot, you're not enjoying turn 4. So nothing crazy. It was it felt like the same setup as the spring race, to where we were just I think we were turning like 9,600 RPMs down into 1. So everyone had a lot of gear, and you just had to drive the living hell out of it. I mean, it was a qualifying lap every lap. There was no chilling out or riding or trying to save anything, because you couldn't pass. Like, I mean, Daniel, you saw it took him 100 and something laps to get by me. So it's just, that's how it was in the spring. It was one of the hardest races I've ever driven, and this one wasn't quite as hard just because there was so much green flag. But them restarts, you'd be rolling around under caution, and your heart rate's kind of chill, and then before you know it, I mean, you're in 4th gear and you're just selling it off in there, giving it all you got. So I'm glad to get through it. And I was praying once we hit like 20 to go, I was like, please God, just get to the checkered, and I'll take my top 5 and get out of here.
Yeah, so we had a feeling some of the guys up front had that same thought as you. So really good run there. But definitely want to give you the opportunity though for any thanks or shout outs you'd like to give.
Yeah, man, title sponsor for the series, they're on the hood of the car, so that's always a little bit of pressure. But Glenn Campbell and the guys at Transervice, they do a good job of putting their logos on a couple guys in the series, so I appreciate them being on there all year. So I hope to keep plugging along, make him and that company look good. I try not to. I do a lot of dumb stuff, I'm sure, and say a lot of dumb stuff, but I try to hold back as much as I can, just because you got a company on your quarter panel, so you try to put a good image on for them. I gotta thank Joey and you guys, and Kick-Ass Beef Jerky, WCI Parts, just all the sponsors that put their effort into the league and keep this thing going.
All right, there you have a solid third place finisher. Started from the pole. So looking forward to moving on to the next round, hopefully after the Roval next week, and aiming for a run at the Homestead.
Yeah, man, you got it. I think we should have that's 2 top 5. So God, I hope I have a big enough gap to where I can go in the Roval and have some fun. I'm decent there. I'd say a top 5, but there's a few guys like Comstock and Adam that they're going to be in there on zip code again. So I hope to avoid the turtles or whatever those things are called, and maneuver my way around that track and move on to the next round. So hope you guys have a good one.
There you have it, third place finisher Trey Edson.
Well, I tell you what, let's bring up this man here, Daniel Falkenham, who actually made it around that man Trey Edson as the laps wound down. Had a good battle, but you're right there, going into the Roval. Trey, definitely, he's got a lot to hang on to, but bring him up here, second place man, Daniel Falkenham.
Yeah, I got Daniel Falkingham here in the number 39 Chevrolet Camaro with the first straight bait. I know it's the title sponsor of the league or the series, I should say, but I'm guessing you got a little tired of seeing that Transervice sponsor on the back of the 40 car until the very end there.
Huh. It's kind of ironic because for whatever reason Trey's paint didn't load up. All I saw was a just big white car for whatever reason. But yeah, I think I literally spent the entire race just trying to pass Trey. The only time I got ahead of him before I passed him, like at the end of the race, was on pit road, and then he got right back behind me on a restart. So really, the only legitimate time I really passed him all night was with like 5 to go when I was just managed to roll the bottom really good, which I was kind of surprised. Like it was almost like a light switch, like because I could run the top really good, especially in 1 and 2, like at the start of the race. Then I don't know as if we went into the nighttime or just like when the track cooled down. I don't know if the bottom started to gain grip more than the top, where it just like both lanes evened out. But I don't know if Trey was just struggling on his right rear because he was definitely slipping, sliding a lot off the corner. So I just kept rolling the bottom, try to conserve my right rear, be careful, just pedal it off the corner, and I was able to get underneath them. But there was times he'd just get me back off the corner because I just keep spinning off turn 4 because I kept clipping that apron. Because if you can put your left side right on that apron or like right on the yellow line, you pretty much just fly right through the corner. So it was pretty vital to get through 3 and 4, especially right on that yellow line, so you could fly through the corner. I saw Trey miss it like 1 or 2 times, and that's how I was able to get it underneath him. And then we finally cleared him with like 5 to go. So awesome racing with Trey there. I have a lot of respect for him. So yeah, good race there.
So yeah, definitely went green for that long run, then some cautions in the middle, then again the long green run to end the race. Was there anything you noticed like with the long runs, or was it kind of just it felt like it was the same, but just maybe a little bit looser as it progressed, or?
Yeah, it definitely freed up as the run went on. Just the right rear just falling off because it just kept getting free and freer, trying to snap off the corner. So you really had to manage that right rear throughout the entire run, especially like on that first run, like where we went 80 laps. My right rear, I was sliding off the corners a few times, just trying to get all I could off the corner, and my right rear is actually still really decent. So whatever I was doing something really good. I think it was probably from when I was entering high in turns 1 and 2, and I was able to go straight off the corner, like bring her down off the corner and just straight shot off the corner, which I think helped it a little bit. So I definitely found some techniques that really worked for me tonight, and definitely learned that throughout the race. It was kind of annoying we had all those yellows in the middle of the race, but we eventually got that cleaned up, went green for a pretty good while to the end. So very surprised how well this race went tonight. I honestly thought it wasn't going to be that great, especially with playoffs on the line and stuff. But yeah, really good race tonight. So shout out to everyone who raced tonight. It was really fun.
I was saying, I'll give you a chance here for some extra shout-outs if you want to have any sponsors or anything you'd like to thank.
Yes, got to thank First Rate Bait Lobster 207 for all they do, for all their support. Also got to thank Cameron Colby. Colby's eye paints for painting me up this car. Also got to thank everyone who runs the show here at SIM500, Joey and the guys. Always fun to come over here and run with these guys, especially my first year with SIM500, so it's really been a fun experience. Also got to thank everyone who comes and races each and every week. I also got to thank Transervice for all they do for the series, sponsoring the series. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do this on Monday nights. Also got to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. Always love going back and watching the race broadcast. And shout out to everyone who watched the race tonight. And also congrats to Adam on the win.
All right, there you have it. The number 39 Chevrolet Camaro of Daniel Falkingham. And Joe, I believe you found someone who's very familiar with finding victory lanes. 10th time this season for the number 81 of Adam Gilliland.
Absolutely. I tell you what, the man dominated all night long. Adam Gillian, Joe White, the booth, got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Joe.
Man, I tell you what, well, last week you put yourself, man, a little bit down. You definitely had a fast machine, bumped the wall, got in a little trouble, but tonight you came back in just dominating fashion, led 162 laps out here. How was the car? How was the track?
A lot more fun than last week. That's for sure. It's a completely different race this week. You know, last week, basically, holding it to the floorboard, and whoever got out front was going to be able to use the air to their advantage, and it was going to be tough to pass. And don't get me wrong, it's still tough to pass at Richmond, but it's a little more in the driver's hand and a lot more fun to have this package on the short tracks where it's full horsepower and you can really have to fight the thing on the corner, off the corner, getting loose and whatnot. So had a really good time tonight. I really enjoyed those green flag runs we had. Anytime you can get 50, 60 lap green flag runs in Richmond, that says a lot about the league. So I really enjoyed that and had a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, how does this make you feel going into the Roval next week? That's kind of really a wild card style race, especially now that they've changed up the layout on it. But how do you feel now? Because as far as points wise goes, you've got a little cushion.
Yeah. Going into tonight, we had a pretty decent cushion, and I'm sure we added on to that tonight. So we'll go into the Roval probably with almost a guarantee to move on to the next round, and that'll ultimately lead to me having a fun race. The Roval, as you saw last year in real life, it's pretty wild, and you can have stuff happen and not be able to do anything about it. The new bus stop they added, I've ran a few laps on it, and I actually really like the change. It creates a new passing zone. Before, going down the back straightaway, you're pretty much running through there wide open. You had to lift a little bit, but it wasn't really passing. So now you can kind of get in there and outbrake someone. It's not a corner where you can race side by side, but you get in there and make a pass. So I really enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Definitely going to be interesting to watch and see if you can keep up the dominating ways, because you dominated the regular season, and I know the guys behind you in the chase are looking like, oh man, this is going to be an uphill battle. But anything can still happen heading into Homestead. You pulled it off here tonight for the Transervice Cup Series here at Richmond. You got any people you want to shout out tonight?
Yeah, as always, just got to thank Gary Mercer Trucking and Brendan Mercer for always supporting me on here. All the guys back at Aftermath got a fun group to race with, and obviously you guys that put on the broadcast, and Joey and all the admins that put on the series. It's a great product and one of the best leagues I've ever been in.
Absolutely, and I tell you what, it was outstanding to watch you out there in a dominating fashion there in that 81 machine. Again, congratulations on the win tonight there, Adam Gillian.
Thank you.
All right, I tell you, let's get our unofficial results order here tonight. As Adam Gillian puts it in victory lane, Daniel Falkenham comes up in second, Trey Edson the third, Nick Cohan up in the fourth, a good hard charge there for him, Tommy Ryan to fifth, Anthony Navarro fires back to sixth, Nick Silver to seventh, Chad Cole to eighth, Timothy Johnson to ninth, and Justin Fuller, he made it back in the top 10 there, muscled his way there. As we look to the rest of this field, some guys had some good nights, had a couple guys not so much here. It will be interesting going in next week, the final race of the first half of the chase, the Roval, next week at Charlotte Road Course, and that's going to be a wild one there, Gail.
Yeah, so that's going to definitely be another potential to shake things up. I'll say they did get the points updated, so Nick Cohen is actually able to bump himself up into the 10th position right now, or
Nice.
sorry, into the 12th position. I'm sorry, but he's in the cutoff zone, and he's actually 11 points ahead of Sean Castro. So he's made a really good gain. And as we mentioned during the race with David Comstock, he fell down 6 spots to 10th, so not as bad as it could have been. However, he's still pretty close. So he's only about 5 points ahead of Nick, I believe. Yeah, he's 5 points ahead of Nick right now in points. So he's really close to that cutoff spot as well. But I'd say it sounds like from what Trey was saying, he expects David and Adam to be really quick there at the Roval. So that might be one where they can kind of help control their own fate. But again, we talked about those big curbs there with the turtles. Those could be race-ending mistakes if you hit those too hard.
Absolutely, and it definitely is one. It's almost like a plate track. You just don't know what you're going to get going in. It's going to be an exciting one next week. Roval at Charlotte, folks, as we head off. That'll be the final race of the first half of the chase. It'll knock it down to 12 drivers after that here in the Cup Series here presented by Transervice. Well, that man Adam Gillian puts it in victory lane here at Richmond. For myself and Gael, everyone, have a good night.